There's absolutely zero question what the fastest growing suburb of San Antonio, Texas is, and that city is New Braunfels, Texas. The formerly quaint and small little German town of New Braunfels is not so quaint and small anymore and is just exploding with growth. And today we're going to get into everything that you need to know about the pros and cons of this beautiful city of New Braunfels, Texas. We're out here in Landa Park and we're going to get into it right now. So pro number one is that New Braunfels is got all the big city amenities that you need with still being a relatively small town. I mean, granted, it is not anywhere close to what it was before. It used to be a small town of like, 40 to 50,000 people just, really 15, 20 years ago, but it has absolutely exploded. We have over 100,000 people here. There are a ton of amenities, including like the Creekside shopping centers, everything like downtown, green. You have multiple other shopping centers close by. San Marcos Outlets is just down the road. And then the Forum over at Live Oak, in San Antonio is the other direction. So you have everything that you really need for a big city, but you don't have to live in the big city. Now, New Braunfels is kind of crowded, so you do have to deal with that, but you've got all those big city amenities with still having somewhat of that small town feel. Now, carrying right into that, con number one is that it is the fastest growing city in this entire area by a long shot. It's the fifth fastest growing city in the entire country. Comal County, which New Braunfels is a part of, is actually the second fastest growing county in all of the country. It is just booming. I mean, just seriously exploding. There's multiple huge developments, multi-thousand acre developments, 1,000+ acre developments going in. Veramendi is one that's super popular. I've done some videos on that. Lots of really nice houses in there already, kind of, a little bit way through, but still got probably 10 years left of growth. And then a new one that's coming up, it's gonna be very similar to Veramendi, is Mayfair. Both of them are gonna have like resort style amenities, multiple schools, new schools put in, lots of new shopping, and business developments. Some of them, I think even Veramendi is getting their own hospital. So you have all kinds of development. Everywhere you look, it's basically commercial development going up too. And then on top of that, you really can't go anywhere, even outside of those big developments. You can't really go anywhere without seeing a new home development swallowing up some of this old farmland. So, it's kind of sad to see, especially for me growing up around here, coming from Seguin to New Braunfels. Seguin is where I grew up, and seeing all the open space and just nice, easy drive. All that land is becoming houses now. Now, pro number two is that there is a booming housing market in New Braunfels, and that could go both good and bad, right? So, booming housing market with over 895 homes currently for sale in New Braunfels area, and that includes some condos. In the last year, we've had over 2,400 homes actually sell, and that includes condos as well. The average sales price is $483,000, so that is a lot higher than what your typical median price point is for the San Antonio area. But there are still a lot of affordable opportunities. There's still over 100 listings, and that includes some new builds that are under $300,000. And talking about new builds make up a vast majority of the homes for sale in New Braunfels. Not a vast majority, but a large chunk. There's 375 new homes currently listed on the market, and that doesn't even include the ones that are being built from scratch. There's a lot of these new build developers that they go in and they'll get people that contract on things to build from the ground up. Those don't get listed out on the open market, so those numbers are a lot lower than what they actually are. So there very well could be a majority that are new builds in New Braunfels for the homes that are actually selling for people that are moving here. Now, real quick, getting into that point specifically on housing, if you guys have any questions whatsoever about housing in New Braunfels or in San Antonio, if you're all thinking about moving here, reach out to me with the Life in San Antonio, Texas home group. We are just super knowledgeable about helping people relocate, especially from out of state, and that's what we really do. That's what we specialize in. I've helped hundreds of people just like you move here to San Antonio, New Braunfels area specifically, especially with these new builds. If you're looking to build a new build, we can talk about some of these different areas that you can look at, some of these different neighborhoods to look at, which ones have custom options, and then also look at resales. Figure out what the best option is for you. I've lived here literally my entire life. I'm a true local. I grew up just down the road in Seguin. Grew up coming to New Braunfels all the time. So if you have any questions whatsoever about that city, reach out to us. You can call, text, or email anytime, or better yet, if you want to schedule a call, you can hit that link down in that description and schedule a quick 30-minute phone call with us, and we'll be able to help you guys make that move to New Braunfels or to the San Antonio area. Con number two also has to do with the growth. The traffic in New Braunfels is absolutely terrible, especially right there at Highway 46 and Interstate 35, kind of coming in from Seguin and hitting that interstate that goes between Austin and San Antonio. The traffic there, especially in rush hour, is just terrible. Now, they're getting ready to fix that, but that's going to kind of go into more construction, right? So the highway on 46 between 35 and Interstate 10 in Seguin is getting ready to be completely expanded. They're going to have flyovers and on-ramps to get on the 35. They're going to widen it out and put feeder roads. They're going to put overpasses all the way down the road. Used to be a 2-4 lane road going all the way down, and that's going to be no more here in the next few years. But another big negative for that, it's going to make traffic nice, but there's going to be construction for at least 10 years on that road. Another big benefit for New Braunfels and pro number 3 is that they have highly rated schools. So there's 2 different school districts. There's New Braunfels ISD and Comal ISD. So Comal ISD is rated a little bit higher. It kind of covers the area where Canyon High School is, kind of just off of 35, south of 35 in that Creekside area, and then also kind of going up north. It also covers like the Canyon Lake, Spring Branch, Garden Ridge area, but that's Canyon High School and pretty much everything south of 35, and I want to say east of 46, and then New Braunfels ISD covers pretty much the rest of the city. So New Braunfels ISD is rated at an 86 out of 100 on the txschools.gov website, and Comal ISD is a 93 out of 100. 2 very highly rated schools, lots of very highly rated schools within those districts as well. But then you also have some private school options. There's multiples to choose from, but New Braunfels Christian Academy is probably the most popular. Con number 3 is that the tourism out here is real. I mean, New Braunfels is a tourist town first, and that's what I think has made it so popular. Very, very good downtown, very good, little shops and things, other than in downtown. You have green as well. You also have the Schlitterbahn, the big water park, world-renowned water park, tubing on the Guadalupe and the Comal rivers. You have Canyon Lake that's close by. You have Wurst Fest every year. You have, lots of other different German festivals, Wassel Fest, which we're going to mention in a minute, all kinds of different things. And there's 3 million tourists a year. If you're thinking about moving here, you got to remember, there's going to be 3 million tourists a year that move to New Braunfels. Great, because you have all the different things that you can do in town while you're living here, but during the summer especially, it is going to be very, very busy. Pro number 4 is probably one of the biggest one, is that it is a outstanding location. It's right between San Antonio and Austin. A ton of people move here and commute to both Austin and to San Antonio. So if that's you, if you're thinking of moving to, or if you're thinking of getting a job in Austin or in San Antonio, New Braunfels is a good middle point. I mean, you have 45 minutes to an hour commute both directions, just depending on where you're working at. If you're working in San Antonio, you have a pretty easy drive. It's less than 30 minutes really to get to San Antonio. Austin's a little bit farther, but if you're working on the south side of Austin, great spot for that. Like I said, I've helped a lot of people move here that have done both, commuted both directions. It's also right on the edge of the Texas Hill Country. So you head north, you get up to Canyon Lake, the big, beautiful blue water of Canyon Lake, super popular public lake, great for recreational, lots of beaches, public beaches that you can go to over there. Go take a drive at the Hill Country, head up to Fredericksburg for some wine tasting up there. Just anything you want to do at the Texas Hill Country. It's a great location for all of those things. Now, con number 4 is a little bit of kind of a toss-up really, because it's a negative to a lot of locals with all the growth. As you can imagine, everywhere there's a big negative conception, or negative perception, I should say, about the people moving here to New Braunfels, especially a lot of the locals that have been here for years and years and saw it when there was 25,000-30,000 people 30 years ago, right? So those people kind of have a negative vibe towards all the people that are moving here. It is what it is. It's going to be like that wherever you go. I still see quite a bit of that true Texas hospitality around here. Like I said, I know a ton of people that have lived here for years and years and years, and they have a ton of new friends that have moved here from out of state, from California, from New York, from Washington, any of these other places that a lot of people maybe say are negatives, for people to move here to Texas from. It's not the case. There's Texas hospitality everywhere you look around here. Pro number 5, and this is a big reason why it's a huge tourist town, is that there is a ton to do. So you have Creekside Shopping Center, like I already mentioned, with the huge Buc-ee's, massive, giant gas station. Used to be the biggest Buc-ee's, biggest gas station in the world, but not so much anymore. I think they've been beaten. But you also have, the rivers to tube on. You have Schlitterbahn. You have, Green, which is a great little small, little local tourist area that has all kinds of different concerts, country music concerts. You have Canyon Lake close by. You have, Whitewater Amphitheater as another place to go to country concerts, close to San Antonio and Austin to go over there to do anything. Just literally just littered with things to do. Even when I'm talking about San Antonio, New Braunfels is a big place that I mentioned where a lot of people go to do things. Even us, we live about 40 minutes from New Braunfels now. We still come here all the time. You also have some pretty unique things things too in Das Rec, which is the big recreation center for the city of New Braunfels. It's got pickleball courts, swimming pools, playscapes, and then you also have the McKenna Children's Museum, which I've taken my kids to a lot, and they love it. And of course, we can't forget Landon Park. I'm here at Landon Park right now. There's, you can see the Comal River behind me. This is the start of the Comal River, and you also have multiple spring-fed parks along with all these other playgrounds, trails. I mean, there's literally deer like right over there. You got the train coming. I gotta show you this real quick. You got the train coming. Kids can get on the train and ride the train for the day. I mean, all kinds of stuff to do around here. Now, con number 5 is that it's something really you can't avoid when talking about Texas is the high property taxes. And specifically in New Braunfels, though, we're also gonna mention the utility provider issues. So high property taxes in Texas overall, obviously, we are the 6th highest property tax in the entire country. New Braunfels, though, is a little bit better than some of the bigger cities. So most across the board are right under 2% tax rate, which is pretty good rate overall, considering that, in San Antonio, the average is like 2.4%. But there are a couple neighborhoods, and I'll mention one specifically, My Ranch, which I just did a really great video about, has a mud tax, which that mud tax adds an extra property tax rate for those extra utilities that were put in for the development, and that one has a little bit over 2.6% tax rate. So you have some varying tax rate. Most of them is pretty reasonable, but still at 2%, still quite a bit. Now, as far as utilities go, New Braunfels utilities is kind of a headache for a lot of people. They're very difficult to deal with, and whenever we had that big winter storm a few years ago, they added on this extra enhancement fee or impact fee or something that made a lot of people's utility bills go up to like $700 a month. I mean, it's just insane. So I think they've gotten past that, but that is something I want you to know about whenever you're looking at New Braunfels, because it's definitely something that could happen again potentially if they decide to just throw something out there like that. Pro number 6 is that New Braunfels is home to the historic Green, G-R-U-E-N-E. So it is right on the river, beautiful place, very, very popular tourist attraction as well. Lots of little bars and wineries that you can go to and hang out for nightlife stuff. You can also go down there to eat. I mean, those are some of my best, literally my top restaurants in the entire area of San Antonio: Green River Grill and Gristmill, and then also Mosey's. It's where Green Hall is, where people like Willie Nelson and George Strait have played before. Tons of character around there, some of the best restaurants, and a really great place to go hang out. So con number 6 is going to be that the average home price around here is significantly higher than most of the other areas in San Antonio. Now, I say most of the other areas, it's not even close to like Bernie, but the average home price is $483,000. It's not an easy pill to swallow, especially with these interest rates we have currently in 2023. But $483,000 to get an average price home in New Braunfels. Like I mentioned, there are a ton, under $300,000, so you can get some affordable housing, but it's just due to the high demand. A lot of people want to be in New Braunfels, so the prices have gone up dramatically. I mean, I'm talking 50% increase since 2019. I mean, 50%. I mean, the average price around here was below $300,000 back in that time frame, 2018, 2019, just unreal. Now, pro number 7, that is a rich German influence here in New Braunfels, from Schlitterbahn and Wurstfest. Wurstfest is a huge, very popular beer and sausage festival that brings a ton of people here every year. Me and my wife and my brother and his girlfriend go every year. It's a lot of fun to just go and hang out. A lot of people get dressed up in the old German attire. You have German architecture everywhere. You have Wasselfest around Christmas, so just a big German influence in New Braunfels. And con number 7, if you could see what I'm wearing today. Usually I'm wearing boots and jeans whenever I'm out doing these videos. Today I got shorts on. I couldn't handle it being outside like this. So we're looking at, I think around 100 to 105 degree weather right now. Heat index over 110. It's not fun. I'm not too bad right now in the shade with the wind and right by the water. It's not too bad, but the heat in Texas is it's one thing you got to talk about. Heat, property taxes, the 2 biggest negatives of living in Texas. Again, I'm used to it. I have no problems wearing a black polo going out and doing stuff, and usually I'm wearing boots and jeans. No issues at all, but again, still something you gotta deal with. Now, if you're looking at moving specifically to a suburb like New Braunfels of San Antonio or even of Austin, you need to consider Boerne, Texas as well. And I did a deep dive comparison of this great city of New Braunfels right here at this bench compared to Boerne, Texas. So take a look at that video. Let me know what you think in the comments of New Braunfels. If you have anything else to add, otherwise, hopefully I will be able to connect with you guys soon if you're thinking about moving here. Would love to help you out. Until the next video, see you there.